To save my brother, I was swept away by the flood. My family brought back a girl to fill the void left by my absence. 6 years later, I regained my memories. Setting forth from a remote mountain village, I traversed arduous paths to seek out my kin. My mother fainted from her tears, while my brother and childhood friend were overwhelmed with emotion, their eyes glistening with unshed tears. Not wishing to impose upon me, they unhesitatingly sent the false daughter away. However, later on, I found myself in a heated dispute with the false daughter, and my brother, along with my childhood friend, shoved me down the stairs in their haste to protect her. In my state of unconsciousness, I overheard their conversation. Sometimes I think it would have been better if she had died 6 years ago. After all, she is your sister and even saved your life. Don't you think the same? Is she not the one you have deemed as Xiao Xiao? My parents fell silent, offering no rebuttal, only advising, she is about to awaken. Let us speak no more. Upon hearing this, I slowly opened my eyes and, in a daze, inquired, Who are you? I am not welcomed here. Then let us return everything to its origin. After all, the long journey I undertook was never for their meager love. What I truly seek is a springboard to escape the mountains. An hour later, the doctor, holding my examination results, pondered for a moment before saying, According to the report, the head injury should not lead to amnesia, but... Song Yu, the doctor says you're fine, do you hear me? Stop pretending. Before the doctor could finish, Song Yenchuan stormed to my bedside, his voice laced with fury. You were reckless 6 years ago, and now you've returned only to injure Xiao Xiao. Are you determined to disrupt the peace of the Song family? Cheng Jieyu frowned at me. Song Yu, enough is enough. Apologize to Xiao Xiao, and let this matter rest. Song Xiao Xiao, covering the barely visible wound on her face, shot me a triumphant glare. I returned her gaze with a cold expression. Terrified, Song Xiao Xiao hid behind Song Mother. Song Mother cast a reproachful look in my direction. Song Yenchuan, do you think we are dead? I rolled my eyes. Let me correct you. My surname is Su, not Song. Song Yenchuan's anger intensified. Are you still pretending? The doctor, long ignored, could no longer endure the chaos and stepped forward to separate Song Yenchuan. Young Master Song, please calm down and allow me to finish speaking. He pointed to the shadow on the X-ray, hastily concluding before Song Yenchuan could erupt again. It shows that Miss Song has unresolved bruising on her head, likely an old injury from several years ago. Thus, this recent impact has caused confusion in her short-term memory, which is entirely plausible from a medical perspective. A profound silence fell over the ward. Just moments ago, Song Yenchuan had been full of bluster. Now he stood frozen, a flicker of embarrassment and guilt crossing his face. TSK. Perhaps he misjudged. Finally, the head of the family, Song Father, spoke up. Are you suggesting that she has completely forgotten us? The doctor nodded awkwardly. Theoretically, that is a possibility. Upon hearing this, Song Mother staggered and rushed to grasp my hand tightly, tears streaming down her face. Ayu, have you even forgotten me? I allowed Song Mother to hold me, my gaze fixated on her tear-streaked face. Noticing my stillness, Song Mother's eyes filled with hope. Ayu, have you remembered? I blinked, my expression blank. Auntie, who are you? This address made Song Mother tremble violently, shaking her head in disbelief, her tears flowing more fiercely. How peculiar. I have returned to the starting point, just as they wished. Finally, Song Mother can proudly showcase her impeccable daughter, Song Xiao Xiao, without concern for me, the bumpkin, tarnishing her reputation among the elite. Why, then, does she still appear so sorrowful? I observed her quietly, until her embarrassment over my indifference rendered her speechless. I then turned my head, puzzled, and asked, Are you someone very important to me that I shouldn't forget? Of course. Song Mother's eyes reddened again, urgently insisting. You truly cannot recall anything? I am your benefactor. 2. Song Yenchuan interrupted Song Mother's words. He stepped forward, restraining the agitated Song Mother, and spoke calmly. You are a beneficiary of the Song family. Cheng Jiyu, ever the loyal brother to Song Yenchuan, quickly caught on and nodded in agreement. Yes. Aunt Song is the kind-hearted person who funded your education. Song Mother's mouth hung open in shock. She glanced between her son and Cheng Jiyu, then at my bewildered expression. Her face a tapestry of conflicted emotions. Seeing this, Song Xiao Xiao immediately rushed over, pressing her face against Song Mother's shoulder. Mom. Don't be sad for such an ungrateful wretch. She asks, not worth it. You still have me. I will always be your daughter. Song mother, instantly moved, embraced her tightly. I was left speechless. Turning my gaze away, I faced the silent Song father. Am I truly a beneficiary of your family? Song father had yet to respond. Song Yenchuan's face turned ashen and he exploded. What do you mean by that? Do you not believe me? His chest heaved violently, as if he bore a tremendous grievance. If you hadn't recklessly come to the Song family to thank my mother for her support, would this have happened? You fell down the stairs, and our family has spent time and resources on your recovery. If you are ungrateful, at least don't question us. I'll tell you this. The Song family owes you nothing. I fell down the stairs? I scoffed internally. It was this very person, my so-called elder brother, who had pushed me down. His act of feigning innocence was infuriating. If I truly had amnesia, I might have believed him. I waited for him to finish before turning my head, bemused. I didn't even ask you. Why the lengthy explanation? Are you feeling guilty? You. Song Yenchuan was momentarily taken aback, his face flushing with rage. Just as I contemplated stoking the flames further, Song father finally spoke up. You are indeed a sponsored student of the Song family. I was momentarily stunned. 3. Song father's gaze was fixed upon me. His eyes, calm and assessing, suggested he viewed me not as his own daughter, but rather as an object to evaluate. Regardless of the circumstances, you were injured under the care of the Song family. Out of both duty and reason, we should take responsibility. After a moment of contemplation, he raised his eyes. Since you are a sponsored student of the Song family, you may reside here during your recovery and studies as compensation. With that, he paused, evidently awaiting my response. Song mother also watched me, with bated breath. I offered a hint of hesitation and unease. Wouldn't that be too much trouble for you? Not at all, consider it your home. Song mother shook her head fervently, as though she had finally found an outlet for her meager maternal affection. You are aware that you are a handful, aren't you? Song Yenchuan scoffed. You should be grateful to stay in the Song family, you country bumpkin. I chose to disregard him and continue to focus on Song father and Song mother, gently nodding. Thank you, Uncle Song and Aunt Song, for your hospitality. Song Yenchuan scoffed again, as if to say, of course. You are merely putting on a show and have ultimately agreed. Chang Jiyu tugged at his sleeve, signaling him to temper his words. He then turned to me, a gentle smile on his face. Suyu, don't take it to heart. Yenchuan is just a bit blunt and speaks without thinking. He glanced at Song Yenchuan. He is concerned for you and wants you to feel at ease staying with the Song family. There is no malice intended. Song Yenchuan rubbed his nose, awkwardly averting his gaze. However, he refrained from making any further disparaging remarks. I offered a nonchalant nod. Who cares what this fool thinks? Who cares indeed? I may not wish to be a member of the Song family, but I am determined to stay, to remain in the upper city. The elders in my village always say that staying in the mountains will lead to no success. Without success, one cannot earn money. That's simply one to do. I aspire to achieve something, to rise above. For I followed them back to the Song family villa. Upon entering, I passed the maid's room and caught sight of an old, worn backpack inside. With a smile, I remarked, this should be my room, quite nice indeed. The Song family members behind me halted in unison, momentarily speechless. The atmosphere grew, increasingly tense. Finally, it was Song Xiaoxiao, sobbing, who broke the silence. How about we let my sister stay in my room? Although it is filled with my memories from childhood, it's fine. Tears streamed down her face. Song mother immediately pulled her into an embrace, comforting her tenderly. Sweetheart, we want to let her take your room. Song Yenchuan's expression darkened. Suyu, we have allowed you to stay with the Song family. Why are you still not content and pressuring Xiao Xiao to give up her room? Chang Jiyu shook his head at me, his tone laced with disappointment. Can you not be so overbearing? I was bewildered by the reprimand, a question mark slowly forming above my head. Yet I patiently waited for this family to finish their performance before speaking up, my tone utterly sincere. Have you all misunderstood something? I pointed toward the maid's room, my expression perplexed. It entirely normal and reasonable for me, as your sponsored student, to reside in that room? Song Mu and Song Yenchuan momentarily froze, finally coming to the realization. Indeed, I am now a sponsored student of their family. The onlookers exchanged glances, their faces shifting from pale to flushed, the awkwardness palpable enough to fill a three-bedroom apartment. I couldn't help but smirk inwardly. Their reaction was merely a reflection of their memories of my initial return to the Song household when I briefly resided in Song Xiaoxiao's room. At that time, the Song family was insistent on sending Song Xiaoxiao away, yet she stubbornly refused to leave, standing guard outside the door day and night. Eventually, she collapsed from exhaustion, and I became the heartless sinner in their eyes. Subsequently, I took the initiative to move to the first floor, and from then on, this dispute unfolded, culminating in me being jointly pushed down the stairs. In this moment, Song Yanchuan and Cheng Jiyu remained tight-lipped and silent. Song Mu awkwardly pushed Song Xiaoxiao aside, glancing at Song Father, who appeared to be at a loss for words. Clearing his throat, Song Father attempted to salvage the situation. "You've been injured and need to rest. I'll arrange a guest room for you on the second floor."
No.
Song Xiaoxiao vehemently shook her head, her eyes reddening. "How can my sister stay in a guest room? Just let her have my room. I'm fine with it, really." She successfully redirected the family's attention back to herself. Observing this recurring drama unfold, I sighed internally while muttering softly, "Do other prominent families, like the Chung or Jiang families, treat their sponsored students with such kindness?" Song Yanchuan and Cheng Jiyu both stiffened at my words. Song Yanchuan, attempting to preserve some dignity, retorted, "Xiaoxiao is simply innocent and cannot bear to see others suffer. Don't take advantage of her."
Oh.
Song Father, eager to bring this farce to a swift conclusion, declared decisively, "You will stay here." Song Mu's lips moved as if she wished to say something, but upon seeing Song Xiaoxiao's tearful eyes, she ultimately patted my hand and said, "If you need anything, just let me know." I casually nodded. Song Father nodded slightly, satisfied with my silence. "Tomorrow, the driver will take you and Xiaoxiao to school together." The farce had finally come to an end. Song Mu was lost in her self-indulgent maternal love. Song Yanchuan believed I had shown understanding. Cheng Jiyu thought the matter had finally settled. Each harbored their own ulterior motives, unaware that the current situation was precisely what I desired. I lowered my eyelashes. The stage was already set. The next day, as I entered the car, I discovered that besides Song Xiaoxiao, Song Yanchuan was also present. I offered a slight nod in greeting before bending down to slide into the back seat. Song Yanchuan scoffed with dissatisfaction. "Some people eat from others' tables and live in others' homes, yet still put on such an air of superiority for whom? Brother, don't say that about Suyu. She's not feeling well." Song Xiaoxiao interjected with a delicate tone. "I'm just worried you might get bullied again."
Song Yanchuan,
with a pointed implication, asserted that I should personally protect my precious younger sister. He cast a haughty sidelong glance at me. I donned my headphones to study, and upon lifting my eyes, I caught his provocative gaze. However, unable to discern his words, I could only see his eyebrows and eyes flitting about, creating a rather comical scene. Unable to contain myself, I burst into laughter. "I'm listening to English. Do you have a problem?" Song Yanchuan's face instantly darkened. "What kind of good students can come from a small country village? You probably speak with a thick local accent. Do you even know what American English is?
can you understand it?
Don't pretend to know when you don't." I shrugged and replied nonchalantly, "Aren't I learning?" Song Yanchuan was momentarily taken aback, scoffing. "You'd better achieve a respectable rank in the mock exams. Don't end up at the bottom and embarrass the Song family." Hearing this, I turned to the gleefully anticipating Song Xiaoxiao and cheerily reminded her, "Did you hear that? Your brother said not to embarrass the Song family." Song Xiaoxiao was utterly unprepared for the conflict to turn against her. Being an art student, her academic performance was rather average. Her face reddened as she cast a pleading glance at the front seat. "Brother." Song Yanchuan's expression faltered. He instinctively wished to defend her. Yet the words had originated from him, and now he found himself at a loss for how to respond. Frustrated, he turned his gaze forward, ignoring even Song Xiaoxiao. Finally, the annoying fellow fell silent. I blissfully closed my eyes to continue memorizing vocabulary. Upon arriving at school, Song Xiaoxiao rushed to exit the car, fearing I would cling to her, and swiftly joined a group of her friends. I leisurely followed behind, only to overhear them discussing me, without restraint. "Xiaoxiao, is this the poor girl who's been mooching off your family? Not bad looking. Pfft, she seems so innocent. Yet she got into a fight and ended up in the hospital. Serves her right." Ugh, who wants to go to school with such a dirty, poor girl? Who knows if she's carrying something contagious? I almost want to take a leave of absence to go home. You're lucky. Xiao Xiao has to see her every day. It's disgusting. They ought to have some awareness. Don't play with her, it's bad luck. Thanks to their loud proclamations, as I entered my new class, I immediately felt a palpable isolation. My classmates kept their distance, wary of any potential contagion. I resolved to immerse myself in my studies. Just as I pulled out my book, my phone suddenly chimed with an unfamiliar message. Song Xiuyu, I heard you've lost your memory? Send me 88 yuan. And I'll tell you all about the boys you've secretly crushed on since childhood and who you've lost fights to, guaranteed satisfaction. What on earth? I deleted the message in annoyance and promptly blocked the number, returning my focus to studying. Although my mother often helped me with my homework back in the village, she was incredibly capable. Knowing far more than the teachers here, I still needed to adapt to the local teaching methods. Dedicating myself to my studies felt comfortable, albeit marred by a few irritating individuals. Song Xiaoxiao and her friends consistently chose to discuss high-end brands in front of me, then collectively turned to watch for my reaction, waiting for me to embarrass myself. Siyu, do you know what this is? I would typically put down my pen and politely shake my head. I don't know. When I refused to engage, they would persistently pester me until they erupted into exaggerated laughter, followed by a derisive remark about being a country bumpkin, after which I could peacefully return to my reading. Such scenes became a daily occurrence. One day after school, I went to the restroom and encountered a few unfamiliar girls clearing the area. I glanced at them, then at the fleeing classmates, and after some thought, decided to leave as well, only to be stopped. Hey, who told you to leave?
One girl pointed at me.
I halted. Is there a problem? Actually, there is, she replied with a cold laugh as she approached, slapping my face with her hand. What's wrong with that? Fighting is against school rules, I stated matter-of-factly. She laughed heartily, and the other girls joined in. Silly girl, there are no cameras here. Just tell the teachers you tripped. And it'll all be fine. I suddenly realized and nodded. Oh, I suppose that's true. I removed my backpack and carefully placed it on the clean sink to avoid getting it wet. Then, I stretched my wrists and smiled at the clearly stunned girls. It's been a while since I fought. Let me warm up. Do you want to go one by one or all at once? The good news was that these girls were likely novices at such antics. The bad news was that one of them managed to escape. Consequently, I was called in by my parents. Song Yenchuan personally came to fetch me, his face darkened. The atmosphere in the Song household was tense. Before I even stepped inside, I could hear Song Xiaoxiao fanning the flames. Mom and Dad, look at Suyu. She has only been at school for a short time, and she already dares to hit someone. Now the whole school is saying that the Song family raises nothing but barbarians. Woe is me, how will I survive at school from now on? How will I make friends? Song Mu softly consoled her. When she returns, your father will surely teach her a lesson. For the first time, Song Yenchuan did not revel in my plight. Instead, he cast a sympathetic glance my way before pushing the door open. Dad, Mom, we're back. The next moment, an ashtray soared through the air, grazing my forehead before crashing to the ground. Suyu, how dare you return? Mother Song was taken aback upon seeing my bleeding, hastily intercepting the furious Father Song. Why did you resort to such violence? The child is bleeding. She then turned to me, her tone urgent. Suyu, quickly apologize to your father and Uncle Song, and assure them that you will never do it again. Don't stop me. Father Song pushed Mother Song aside, his anger palpable. Today, I will teach her the proper conduct of the Song family. He was visibly enraged, pointing at my hand, trembling with indignation. A child raised by country folk is simply unrefined. I didn't strike first. I glanced at Song Xiaoxiao, who was watching the scene unfold, and calmly explained. Upon meeting my gaze, she averted her eyes, guilt-ridden. You must have done something detestable. Father Song, unconvinced, became even angrier. The students at school are either wealthy or noble, each possessing grace and upbringing, unlike you, raised in the countryside. If you don't provoke them, who would bully you? Mother Song and Song Yenchuan nodded in agreement. Look, this is the deeply ingrained mindset of the Song family. In their perception, poverty is an inherent sin. I remained silent for a moment, covering my wound with my hand, and bitterly remarked, they insult me, calling me a wild child without parents, saying I have a father who gave me life, but a mother who abandoned me. I couldn't contain my frustration. I sniffed, and tears fell at the opportune moment. What right do they have to say that? I do have a mother who loves and cares for me. Mother Song's body trembled, her maternal instincts peaking at that moment. A sudden rush of defiance surged forward. If you wish to strike her, then you must strike me first. She was merely defending her own parents. What fault did she bear? Father Song had long since lapsed into silence. Yet, for the sake of his pride, he would never apologize. After a lengthy pause, he sighed, his gaze towards me tinged with a hint of remorse. If you ever lack anything, just inform the family maid. Song Yenchuan also stepped forward, patting my shoulder with a tone of pride. Well done. Later that night, I awoke parched. Upon stepping out to fetch some water, I noticed the lights were still on in the tea room. Father Song, Mother Song, and Song Yenchuan had yet to retire, engaged in hushed conversation. Is this truly right? My biological daughter is mocked at school for being parentless, and my heart feels as if it is being severed by a knife. Mother Song's voice trembled with suppressed sobs. Father Song remained silent. Song Yenchuan questioned, Mother, are you intending to send Xiao Xiao away? Of course not. Mother Song hastily defended herself. How could I bear to? Xiao Xiao is my daughter too. Then isn't this the best outcome? Song Yenchuan, usually rather foolish, displayed clarity of logic in that moment. Siyu remains in the Song family under the guise of a sponsored student. You can see her daily. And Xiao Xiao can continue to be by your side. Nothing has fundamentally changed. Mother Song was swayed but still hesitated. What if Ayu remembers everything? What are you afraid of? Song Yenchuan retorted, exasperated. It was her who couldn't tolerate Xiao Xiao. We refused to acknowledge her as a lesson. At worst, I will apologize to her later. Is that acceptable? From now on, we will compensate her more. It's late. Let us all retire. Father Song concluded the discussion. I waited until they were far away before slowly entering the tea room. As I returned to my room, I caught a glimpse of a shadow flitting around the staircase corner. Judging by the silhouette, it appeared to be Song Xiao Xiao. Had she overheard? Whatever. I shook my head, closing the door behind me without a care. In 2 weeks, the mock examination would commence. That was what I truly needed to focus on. If I performed poorly, I would have no face to return to see my mother. After that day, the attitude of the Song family towards me shifted slightly. When Father Song doled out pocket money to Song Xiao Xiao, he occasionally remembered to transfer some to me as well, and the amount was substantial. As a mere sponsored student, I felt undeserving of such generosity. Each time, I gratefully accepted it, then quietly transferred it to another card. This would serve as my starting funds when I eventually left the Song family. Soon, the tense mock examinations concluded. As I flowed with the crowd out of the school gates, my phone pinged with a new message. Song Xiaoyu, you dared to block me? Just you wait. I'm coming for you. A brand new number, yet the tone was unmistakably familiar. I wrinkled my nose and promptly added this number to the blacklist. Upon my return to the Song residence, the villa was eerily quiet. After inquiring with the maid, I learned that the Song family had accompanied Song Xiao Xiao out of town for an arts examination retake. They might be gone for several days, the maid informed me. I acknowledged with a brief "oh," ate a meal, and then retreated to my room to study, relishing the peace. A week later, the mock examination results were released, 621 points, the highest in my grade. Well, I should not have brought shame to my mother, I mused, stroking my chin. 621 points? The full score is only 650. How is that even possible? Song Yenchuan's exclamation jolted me awake. As I lifted my gaze, I found the entire Song family standing before me, disheveled and astonished, fixated on my report card. Mother Song snatched the report from my hands, verifying it thrice. Her face flushed with excitement. Madam Chen's daughter next door scored 580 points and bragged about it all morning. Let us see what she has to say now. Very well, excellent. Father Song repeated, his eyes finally warming towards me. Clearly, he felt a sense of pride. A businessman at heart, he associated everything with profit and value. Oh no! Song Xiao Xiao was devastated. Her arts examination had faltered, and her mood was already dismal. Now, in comparison to my results, it was even more unbearable. She dashed upstairs in tears. Song Yenchuan shot me a glare before hastily pursuing her. I smirked indifferently, not wishing to be alone with Father and Mother Song. I decided to step outside for some fresh air.
Just as I did.
I overheard a conversation on the terrace between Song Yanchuan and Song Xiaoxiao. You're not like her. What future does a poor kid like her have other than burying herself in books? Your starting point in life is her end point. You are destined to become an internationally renowned designer. Why compare yourself to her? How unfortunate. I pursed my lips and quickly turned to leave. After the mock examination results were announced, the holiday arrived. This was the last short break before the college entrance examination. I packed a few pieces of clothing and slung my faded old backpack over my shoulder. Upon opening my door, I unexpectedly collided with the Song family, who were laden with bags, preparing to utilize the short holiday for a vacation. A moment of mutual astonishment ensued. Mother Song feigned nonchalance. "Suyu, where are you headed?" I replied candidly, "Going home for a visit." Mother Song choked slightly, as a hint of hurt in her voice. "Isn't this your home?" I was alarmed. How could it be? "I don't bear the Song surname, Auntie." Mother Song faltered again. Father Song stepped in to mediate. "Suyu, you'll be going back alone. Why not accompany us? I'll cover the expenses." "Thank you, Uncle Song, but there's no need." I shook my head. I still need to go back to feed the chickens. "Feed chickens?" Song Xiaoxiao laughed out loud, but the next second, she seemed to remember something. With a twinkle in her eye, she clung to Mother Song's arm and whined. "Mom, I want to visit Suyu's hometown. It seems intriguing." Upon hearing that Xiaoxiao wished to go, Song Yanchuan immediately chimed in. "If Xiaoxiao goes, then I'll go too." Cheng Jiu laughed, adding, "Sounds interesting." Ultimately, the situation evolved into Father and Mother Song embarking on their vacation alone, while the others accompanied me back. "Suyu, thank you for being willing to take us to experience life," Song Xiaoxiao said, dragging her luggage alongside me with an innocent demeanor. Internally, I was speechless. Did anyone even consult me about this? Clearly, it was the Song family imposing upon me. Just as our group was preparing to set off, a rebellious male voice rang out. "Song Xiaoyu, how dare you block me twice? I, Jiang Chia, have crossed oceans to settle the score with you. You'd better give me an explanation today." I, along with Song Yanchuan and the others, turned to look. A handsome young man stood at the entrance, exuding an air of youthful bravado that surpassed even Cheng Jiu. Jiang Chia found himself the subject of several scrutinizing gazes, and in that instant, his confidence wavered considerably. He scratched his head and stammered, "What are you staring at? Haven't you ever seen a handsome guy before?" I gazed at him for a considerable time before finally recognizing him from those distinctive peach blossom eyes. The person before me was none other than the chubby little Jiang Chia from my childhood. If Cheng Jiu was my childhood companion, then Jiang Chia was my lifelong nemesis. We had exchanged each other's most embarrassing secrets, engaged in the fiercest of fights, and argued with the utmost intensity. The year I encountered misfortune, he was sent abroad by the Jiang family to continue his studies. Silence enveloped the group until Song Xiaoxiao's eyes lit up. "Brother Chia, why didn't you tell me you were back in the country?" Jiang Chia averted his gaze in disdain, seemingly unimpressed by her presence. "Who are you? Do I need to inform you every time I return?" He turned to me, chin raised. "Song Xiaoyu, where are you off to?" Before I could respond, Song Xiaoxiao interjected. "We're heading to Sister Suyu's hometown." "Suyu? Hometown?" Jiang Chia elongated his tone with an "oh," his gaze sweeping over the group, lingering longest on Song Yanchuan. His penetrating stare seemed to see through everything, rendering Song Yanchuan utterly uncomfortable. Suddenly, he clapped his hands and declared, "Let's go together." Song Yanchuan, Cheng Jiu, and Song Xiaoxiao were taken aback. I remained silent. The hometown was quite remote, with inconvenient transportation. After disembarking the train, we had to take a van, then a tractor, and finally walk for 20 minutes to reach our destination. Throughout the journey, Song Xiaoxiao incessantly complained, "What a terrible place. It's filthy. I wish I hadn't come." I grew weary of her incessant griping and coldly replied, "You can leave right now." She instantly fell silent, pouting. Song Yanchuan and Cheng Jiu shot me warning glances, but I ignored them, my gaze drifting to a floral figure by the wooden door. The instant I recognized her, my eyes grew warm, and I dashed over, "Mom." My mother caught me, her eyes also glistening with tears. She reached out to touch my face, but halted when her fingers brushed against the wound on my forehead, her expression turning anxious. I grinned. "It's fine. It doesn't hurt anymore." She continued to stroke my head and my stomach. I nodded vigorously. I eat well, sleep well, and have gained 5 pounds. Finally, a smile broke across her face. She sighed with joy. My girl has grown more beautiful. Then she pointed at the few people behind me. Are they your friends? Before I could respond, she turned to fetch a small wooden stool from the yard, gesturing for everyone to sit down. I nodded, intending to introduce them. Suddenly, Song Xiaoxiao burst into laughter, clutching her stomach, and mockingly exclaimed, Suyu, you call a country bumpkin your mother? And amused at that, what a joke. My mother's eyes dimmed, her hand frozen midair, utterly bewildered. With a cold expression, I stepped in front of Song Xiaoxiao and, without warning, delivered a sharp slap across her face. How uncouth. I cared little for how the Song family treated me, but my mother was my Achilles heel.
How dare you strike me?
Song Xiaoxiao screamed in a frenzy, while the previously unresponsive Song Yanchuan rushed to shield her.
Suyu.
Xiaoxiao was just joking. Is it really necessary? Cheng Jiu frowned in disapproval. Suyu, you've gone too far. Apologize at once. With someone backing her, Song Xiaoxiao smirked and stuck out her tongue at me. My anger flared, and I rolled up my sleeves, prepared to confront her. Jiang Chia suddenly interjected.
So, what if you hit her?
Xiaoxiao, did you forget to brush your teeth this morning? Your breath stinks so much it's reaching me from afar. At his words, Song Xiaoxiao's expression shifted, her hand covering her mouth in embarrassment and anger. Jiang Chia continued, shaking his head at the other two. Is this the character of the future heirs of the Song and Qing families? Unable to discern right from wrong, incapable of speaking like decent human beings, truly. One generation is worse than the last. The countenance of Song Yanchuan and Cheng Jiu darkened instantly. That evening, I refrained from cooking for the Song siblings and Cheng Jiu. The three, with their pride intact, sulked back to their rooms when they found no food awaiting them. Jiang Chia, observing the scene, casually approached my mother. Now that the troublesome ones have left, Mom, let us eat. I shot him a glare. She asked my mom. He raised an eyebrow. Come on, she asked our mom. Right? Considering his assistance earlier, I decided to let his cheekiness slide. The next morning, I was in the backyard feeding the chickens when the Song trio emerged from their room, looking pale and clearly hungry. Jiang Chia stood beside me, taking a hearty bite of a pancake. This pancake is delightful. Their faces turned green as they stormed back inside. Alas, during lunch, my mother, ever soft-hearted, prepared food for them as well. I sighed helplessly. My mother was simply too kind. Yet, I didn't too want to burden her with the troubles of the Song family, so I decided to let it be. After lunch, I gathered my clothes and headed to the creek. Jiang Chia, eager to join, followed me, saying he wanted to see. Strangely, the Song trio trailed behind us at a distance. As I squatted by the riverbank, engrossed in my work, Song Yanchuan sauntered over, standing silently beside me. I chose to ignore him and continued with my task. After some time, he suddenly spoke, his expression wistful. Remember when we used to play in the countryside, catching fish and splashing in the water? Everything seemed so interesting back then. He paused, murmuring softly, later, during the flash flood, my sister saved me. He stopped, his nostalgic gaze resting on my head. Wiping the sweat from my brow, I looked up with a cooperative expression. Are you saying your sister Song Xiaoxiao saved you?
You should really thank her for that.
Song Yanchuan's expression froze. He opened his mouth, seemingly wanting to explain, but upon seeing my sincere demeanor, he suddenly felt somewhat defeated. Just then, Song Xiaoxiao called out to him from afar, Brother, come here. He cast me a complex glance before leaving in a huff. Time flew, and soon it was the day of our return. Early in the morning, Mother Sue packed a large bag of local specialties, and we set off towards the main road. Father and Mother Song were already waiting for us there, having returned early from their trip. As we turned off the mountain road, I heard a commotion ahead. Stepping out to investigate, I found nearby villagers gathered around the Song family's convoy, discussing animatedly. Many had spent their entire lives in the mountains and had never seen such an extravagant procession, eliciting a chorus of astonishment. Curious villagers asked Father and Mother Song, You must be Suyu's biological parents, right? You've struck gold. Suyu is hardworking and academically gifted. The villagers expressed their joy for me, oblivious to the disdain lurking beneath Father and Mother Song's composed facades. I was about to step in and diffuse the situation when Father Song casually remarked, You've misunderstood. We are not Suyu's parents. Mother Song nodded vigorously. Yes, we have come to take our children home. My footsteps faltered. The villagers stirred. Wait, is that so? How could Suyu, this girl, be so fortunate? If she were truly their biological daughter, would she behave like this? She's colder than a stray dog in our village. However, that lady looks exactly like Suyu. The woman referred to as lady by the villagers wore a displeased expression, and Father Song's face bore a mix of green and white hues. I quickly approached. Uncle Chen, Andy, you've got it wrong. These two are kind-hearted individuals from the city who sponsor my education. They are not my parents. Hearing my explanation, the expressions of Father and Mother Song softened. I clutched Mother Sue's arm. Please, everyone, refrain from making any more misunderstandings. My mother will be heartbroken if she hears this. Mother Song's expression grew even more unsightly than before. The villagers, realizing it was a misunderstanding and it was mealtime, dispersed without further ado. I offered a few words of reassurance to Mother Sue before following the Song family to the car. In a sudden motion, Song Xiaoxiao slammed the door shut and, peering through the car window, scoffed Suyu. Haven't you been quite capable these past few days? If you're so bold, don't take our car back. Song Yanchuan, draping an arm over Chengji's shoulder, smirked mockingly. Pauper, go ride your green train. Father Song furrowed his brow in silence. Mother Song, irked by my addressing another as mother, was even less inclined to engage with me. Jiang Chia, with a scoff, leaped down from the passenger seat, exclaiming, I won't sit in this broken car. The Song family's convoy departed. Jiang Chia rolled his eyes and turned to me. Just wait. My family's car will be here soon. I remained silent for a moment. You didn't need to get out. That car reeks of scum. I feared I might vomit. I couldn't help but laugh. Upon seeing me laugh, Jiang Chia coughed lightly and turned his face away. Not long after, the Jiang family's car arrived. Mother Sue suddenly grasped my hand tightly. Dear girl, wait for Mother to find you. I was taken aback. Mom, don't run around. I'll work hard in college and earn money to take you out. Mother Sue pursed her lips and shook her head, firmly pushing me onto the car. As the vehicle started, I caught a glimpse of her signaling in the rearview mirror. Good luck with the college entrance exam. Upon returning to the city, it was evident that I was not welcomed at the Song household. Song Xiaoxiao's taunts became increasingly brazen. For instance, at this moment, some individuals are simply ungrateful wolves. Despite my mother's kindness towards her, she only acknowledges that mute village woman. Mother Song cast a cold glance at me and proclaimed loudly, Darling, let's go buy the new release from C Brand. She grabbed her bag and dragged Song Xiaoxiao out. I quietly picked at my food, internally scoffing at the theatrics. Father Song remained, summoning me to his study to encourage me to study harder and bring glory to the Song family by attending a prestigious university. He appeared less concerned about my future and more about gaining an appropriate tool for a business alliance. I offered a perfunctory response and found an excuse to leave for my studies. The day after the college entrance exams concluded, the Song family held a grand banquet at Yunshang restaurant. Not for any particular reason, but it was the day of Song Xiaoxiao's coming-of-age ceremony, and mine as well. They were undoubtedly aware, yet no one seemed to care. Early in the morning, Father Song, Mother Song, and Song Yanchuan rushed out. Just before the door closed, I faintly heard Song Xiaoxiao complaining. Several prominent families had unexpectedly backed out, throwing the entire event into disarray. I suddenly understood why they were in such a hurry. Since no one called for me, I had no intention of seeking out the dullness. When the time came, I leisurely took a taxi there. As soon as I entered the venue, Father Song's face darkened. Look at you, what a sight. I glanced down at my neat and tidy casual attire. Wasn't it fine? Comfortable and at ease. I had certainly received Father Song's message to dress more attractively, but I chose to ignore it. I had no intention of pleasing them. Song Xiaoxiao stifled a laugh, mouthing country bumpkin at me. I shot her a disinterested glance. Song Yanchuan, growing impatient, urged, Hurry up and go in, don't stand here embarrassing yourself. The Song family moved toward the banquet hall, but after only a few steps, they all halted. The neighboring venue was unexpectedly filled with guests. This banquet hall was typically not open to the public, and the Song family had failed to secure a reservation. If I wasn't mistaken, among that crowd were many prominent families whom Father Song had invited, but who could not attend due to last-minute issues. The Song family stood frozen, unable to react for quite some time. Father Song's pride had taken a severe blow. His grip on the wine glass turned pale. Song Yenchuan, with keen eyes, spotted a good friend who had cancelled on him and rushed over to confront him. Didn't you say you were busy? How come you're here? The young man, startled at first, turned awkwardly pale upon realizing it was Song Yenchuan. Brother, it's hard to refuse this. You can refuse me but not others? Song Yenchuan felt as though he had been slapped hard, his face flushed with anger. The friend wore a conflicted expression. Some words caught in his throat. I surveyed who dared to intercept the Song family and bring them disgrace. Just as Song Yenchuan was about to charge in, he was stopped by Father Song. Get back here. At that moment, a chorus of greetings drowned out Father Song's voice. The crowd parted, and a sprightly elder was supported by a beautiful woman as they approached. I lazily glanced over, but my gaze froze. Mother? I instinctively called out. The elder turned to me with a hearty laugh. Wanner, is this your precious daughter, Su? Good child. Come here to grandfather. I stared blankly at Su Wan. That is Mother Su. She smiled and nodded at me. I rushed over, standing at attention. Hello, grandfather. The old gentleman chuckled heartily, patting my shoulder with satisfaction. He turned to the gathered guests and declared with authority, Ladies and gentlemen, taking this opportunity today, allow me to formally introduce my daughter and beloved granddaughter of Su Xingxing. The crowd erupted in a chorus of congratulations and flattery. In the back of the throng, Jiang Qia approached me in a tailored suit. Miss Su, shall we go in together? I smiled and followed him into the venue, leaving behind a visibly envious Song Xiaoxiao and the pale-faced Song family. The next day, Grandfather Su and Mother Su came personally to fetch me. As a child of the Su family, you need not trouble yourselves with support. The expressions of the Song family varied. As I exited the Song family villa, I did not look back. 2 weeks later, the results of the college entrance examination were announced. I was this year's top scorer. The media clamored to report, praising that only a scholarly family like the Su family could nurture such an outstanding descendant. Grandfather beamed with joy, promptly transferring a substantial sum to support my university endeavors. During this period, the Song family remained silent, except for Song Yenchuan, who bizarrely decided to go live to slander me. The top scorer has talent, but no virtue. Without the Song family's support, where would I be today? However, he anticipated that someone would quickly uncover that I had only been briefly supported by the Song family for a month, and my circumstances were far from favorable. Even being isolated at school under the lead of the Song family's daughter. Both Song Yenchuan and Song Xiaoxiao were met with backlash and shut down the comments. As the media dug deeper, they were astonished to discover that my excellence was largely due to Mother Su's nurturing, as she had once been the top scorer of her own entrance examination. I was surprised for just a moment before feeling it was entirely reasonable. I had long sensed that Mother Su was unlike others. Her knowledge and demeanor were not that of a country dweller. Yet, she had always refrained from discussing her past. And I had never inquired. It was only upon returning to the Su family that I learned of my mother's fierce spirit. Refusing to enter a marriage alliance, she chose to sever ties with the Su family. Later, after a tragic accident, she became mute. This was a significant blow to someone who was once a favored daughter. When she contemplated ending it all, she found me. She had once sought help to find my family, but the Song family had abandoned the search after adopting Song Xiaoxiao, applying for a declaration of death for the mysteriously missing Suyu. For a time, there were no updates. Mother Su raised me as her own. Eventually, when I regained my memory and embarked on a long journey to find my family, these details were also uncovered by well-meaning internet users. The trigger was someone noticing the striking resemblance between me and Madame Song. The situation spiraled out of control. The Song family has been exposed for the absurdity of treating the genuine heiress as a mere sponsored student. The most heart-wrenching aspect is that I risked everything to save Song Yenchuan all those years ago. Song Yenchuan, has your conscience been devoured by a dog? The entire Song family has been subjected to relentless scorn, and Song Yenchuan has become synonymous with ingratitude. In the end, someone summarized, at least Su Yu has the true affection of her family, the Sus. I received a call from Mother Song. With great hesitation in her voice, she asked, Su Yu, would you like to come home for dinner tomorrow? I declined, no, Aunt. Her voice quivered, but tomorrow is my. I did not wish to hear more, feigning an excuse before hanging up. After putting down the phone, I sat on the sofa, my nose tinged with a bittersweet ache. Tomorrow marks Mother Song's birthday. I once genuinely yearned for the warmth that belongs to biological parents. Yet, I cannot forget. From the moment I began to recover my memories, I frantically scoured the internet for information about the Song family, eager to discover their current state. The most sensational result was an interview video from a few years back, featuring the Song group bringing their heiress to a piano competition. A reporter asked Mrs. Song, "I heard you had a biological daughter who went missing under unfortunate circumstances and has not been found?" Mother Song vehemently denied, "No, she was found long ago." She embraced the award-winning song Xiao Xiao, her face radiating pride. "Xiao Xiao is my biological daughter." At that time, only 2 years had passed since my disappearance. Thus, I understood early on that the place I desperately longed to return to was no longer my home. But Mother Sue encouraged me. She urged me to venture to the city, saying that I must escape the mountains to witness a broader world, to meet more people, experiences that cannot be gleaned from books or learned in the valleys. I resolved to pursue excellence, to bring my mother along with me out of the mountains so that she could enjoy a better life. Before the new semester commenced, a newly acquainted friend invited me to gather. As I stepped out of the community, I unexpectedly encountered Chung Jae-yu. I regarded him with calmness, my pace unbroken. He halted me, his lips curling in bitterness. "Song, Suyu, is there no possibility for us anymore?" He scanned me with a look of regret, regarding Song Xiao Xiao. "I merely displaced my guilt towards you onto her." I had no inclination to listen to his empty words and attempted to bypass him. He sought to follow, only to be obstructed by Jiang Chia, who seemed to materialize from thin air. "Hey, young Master Chung, have some self-respect. What does my conversation with Suyu have to do with you?" Chung Jae-yu's demeanor faltered. I turned back, enunciating each word distinctly. "Chung Jae-yu, if you had not shown up, I might have believed your feelings for Song Xiao Xiao were genuine, but now your indecisiveness and self-contradiction truly disgust me." Chung Jae-yu's complexion drained of color. What the media failed to uncover was that the person I risked my life to save was not only Song Yanchuan, but also Chung Jae-yu. In fact, to some extent, it was his panic that caused me to lose my balance and ultimately led to the incident. During the summer break following my freshman year, I accompanied Mother Sue on a shopping trip when she suddenly froze, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I glanced curiously in the direction she was staring. Not far away, a distinguished, middle-aged man gazed at her with a look of longing. I later learned that he was the very reason behind Mother Sue's estrangement from the Sue family. She had been falsely accused, and it was Shen Xiao who stood up to silently protect her. For many years, Shen Xiao remained unmarried, and he had inquired about Mother Sue's whereabouts multiple times, only to be turned away by bodyguards. In my junior year, Mother Sue and Shen Xiao held their wedding. At the ceremony, the Song family, whom I had not seen in ages, made an appearance. Although the Song family had gradually declined due to Song Yanchuan's several misjudgments in recent years, they still retained a semblance of their former grandeur. As soon as Mother Song spotted me, she immediately dragged a reluctant Song Xiao Xiao over, instructing, "Xiao Xiao, call her sister." Song Xiao Xiao, unable to disobey, muttered the word sister almost inaudibly. Song Yanchuan approached as well, his tone somewhat awkward. "Sister, how have you been lately?" "Surely, I did not miss here?" Before I could respond, a scornful voice interjected, "Is there anyone who calls their sponsored student sister or brother in this family?" Jiang Chia's voice was loud enough for all the guests to hear, and they cast knowing glances amongst themselves. The scandal of the Song family passing off their biological daughter as a sponsored student was widely known. Yet everyone had maintained a facade of civility and refrained from confronting it directly. Now, Jiang Chia's remarks felt like public execution. I had not anticipated the audacity of the Song family to show up at the Sue family's event. Their audacity was thicker than the city walls. Father Song, initially attempting to engage in conversation, turned crimson with embarrassment and could not continue, pulling Mother Song aside. "Do you not find this humiliating enough?" Song Yanchuan shot me a fierce glare and reproached in a hushed tone, "Suyu, must you create such a scene with your own family?" I forced a smile. "Young Master Song, one must be careful with words. I am on good terms with my family." I gestured towards my grandfather and Mother Sue seated at the head table. Jiang Chia interjected with a click of his tongue, "Song Yanchuan, you were the one who proposed to deceive everyone by passing your biological sister off as a sponsored student, weren't you? Now you suddenly remember she is family?" The guests' gazes were laden with insinuation. Song Yenchuan's face turned pale, and he seemed to flee in disgrace. As for Chung Jieyu, he had initially intended to approach me but was met with a slap from his father, who thundered, "Rebellious child, don't create trouble for me." Chung Jieyu, observing his father's furious countenance, ultimately dared not advance another step. After the Song family returned home, they lay low for a considerable period, hoping the storm would pass. However, another scandal erupted. The Song family proposed to fulfill their engagement with the Chung family, only to be rejected. The original agreement was for the true heiress, not this impostor. The Song group faced yet another crisis. With no other options, Father Song had no choice but to send Song Xiaoxiao to facilitate a marriage alliance. Yet, at present, no one was interested in Song Xiaoxiao. Ultimately, the Chen family accepted the proposal, but Song Xiaoxiao refused, as the Chen family's young master was notorious for his debauchery and unmarried status. With enough illegitimate offspring to form a football team, Song Xiaoxiao would not willingly leap into such a pit. Chung Jieyu continued to avoid her. Unexpectedly, Song Xiaoxiao took a reckless turn and climbed into Song Yenchuan's bed one night. This caused an uproar within the Song family. Despite Mother Song's favoritism towards her, her love for her biological son ultimately prevailed. She fiercely berated and physically assaulted Song Xiaoxiao, shedding all semblance of grace. Although Song Yenchuan was not particularly bright, he harbored no ulterior motives towards Song Xiaoxiao. Terrified by the turn of events, he gathered his belongings and fled the Song family that very night. After more than half a month, Song Xiaoxiao attempted to sneak into Father Song's study to steal business information for her future, only to be caught red-handed by the housekeeper. Father Song, having lost all patience, expelled her from the family home. Jiang Qiye recounted these events to me as if they were a joke and concluded, "Tell me, does this count as poetic justice?" I smiled faintly, saying nothing. The Song family perhaps felt a hint of guilt towards me, but that guilt paled in comparison to the selfish and cold-hearted nature ingrained in their blood. When trouble arose, their only thoughts were to cover it up and shift blame, never daring to confront their mistakes. Thus, the meager guilt they felt towards me became a weapon to attack me instead. I ought to be grateful that I saw through them early on, never having harbored any extravagant hopes for their cheap and twisted affection. When Mother Song gave birth to her daughter, Father Song called me. "Su Yu, the Su family now has a true heir. Do you think you still have a chance? To them, you will always be an outsider. Return and assist your brother, and I can offer you a managerial position." I had no desire to argue with him and hung up the phone directly. Father Song has been having a particularly difficult time lately. As Song Yenchuan accompanied the young master of the Qin family, he caught sight of Song Xiaoxiao, whose eyes were rimmed with red from weeping. He presumed that Song Xiaoxiao was unwillingly participating and attempted to intervene, only to suffer a grievous injury that left him disabled. Consequently, the Song family faced relentless oppression and setbacks. Song Yenchuan was utterly ruined. As for me, during my university years, I assembled a research and development team focused on artificial intelligence. Now, shortly after graduation, my company's valuation has soared, and I have emerged as a coveted new elite. Song's father merely seeks to exploit my achievements for his own gain. I scoffed at the thought. Turning away, I swiftly seized several pivotal projects from the Song family. In a state of utter dismay, Song's father found himself blacklisted by me and had no choice but to have Song's mother intervene. On the phone, she wept and pleaded, Don't you miss your father and mother?" I remained silent. Song's mother rambled on about various mischievous antics from my childhood, reminiscing about the hopes and dreams that both she and Song's father held for my arrival and growth. I could hear the heavy breaths of two men beside her. I knew that Song's father and Song Yenchuan were present as well. A smirk crept onto my lips as I softly declared, "In truth, my amnesia is feigned." Silence enveloped the other end of the line. Moments later, Song's mother erupted in a frantic, piercing tone, "See you? Are you trying to drive your own parents and brother to despair? Aren't you afraid of being vilified?" I was unafraid, yet I chose to relent, if only for the sake of the 12 years they had raised me. But that was the extent of my mercy. Regarding the matters of the Su family that Song's father alluded to, it was not that the Su family had no intentions of involving me in the family business. Old Master Su had always kept me close, personally mentoring me, with discerning eyes aimed at grooming me as a successor. Su's mother also wholeheartedly agreed. However, I declined, I can manage things on behalf of my sister for now. My journey thus far has been underpinned by the unwavering support of the Sue family. This gratitude I shall always cherish. As for inheriting the Sue family legacy, that is entirely unnecessary. My future lies firmly in my own grasp, unbound by anyone's inheritance.
Hey,
What are you thinking about? Come and join us for barbecue. I was roused from my thoughts to see Sue's mother standing in the courtyard, smiling and beckoning to me. Her speech impairment had been cured. Nearby, Uncle Shun was diligently grilling meat. A warmth filled my heart, and I was about to approach when someone outpaced me. Mom, let me handle this heavy lifting. Jiang Chia cheekily sidled up to Sue's mother. I shot him an incredulous glare. This is my mom. Jiang Chia raised an eyebrow at me. Our mom. Come on, right? This familiar exchange left us both momentarily stunned before we couldn't help but burst into laughter. Sue's mother's eyes crinkled with joy. As the fireworks ascended into the night sky, I distinctly heard Jiang Chia's voice ringing clear. Su, when will you consider me? I paused, a smile gracing my lips as I replied, let us talk when you surpass me. Just you wait, he retorted. The fireworks bloomed in the sky, resplendent and dazzling, much like the promising life that lay ahead of me. The end. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our next story.